Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and construct the Ghar Assault Squad models. Now, before I get started, I just want to let you know that these three models are in this box. You get one sprue per model. They are already snipped and trimmed, okay? If you want to see how I proceed with snipping and trimming, it's pretty basic, but you can go see the Ghar Bomber Squad. I do that on camera so that you can see it. But really, I just cut all the parts off and I put them in their perspective rubble piles. Each one of these is a different model. This is the model we're going to be working on today, and we're going to be using the instructions on the back of the box. All right, so now the Ghar bodies seem to be exactly the same on every model. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble this Ghar Assault battle armor, I guess is what they call it. Okay, so now I'm using DAP Rapid Fuse. It is my favorite super glue of all time. I discovered it about a year ago, and it's kind of like a rapid set super glue. So it only takes like 10 seconds for it to grip, and then it takes about 30 seconds for it to cure to the point where you can move on to the next part or something like that. So like right now, that's already put together and I can just sit it down and let it dry. All right, so basically this is the inner body, okay? The piece that, this is the back. You'll see it, it's a back, and it's like a waist joint. Basically, it's what goes inside the body it goes inside the body. All right, so now we take the top part of the body. It's the one that kind of looks like a chest piece, but this is really not the chest. This is really the top. It's the top plating, and you see it's got the big hole in the back, and that's what defines it as the top. Let's go ahead and put just a little bit of glue in there, and then the big bulbous pin right there goes in the hole. Then line up the front plating because it fits down in there perfectly. Okay, so then you've got your inner torso and then the top plating, and the back here is exposed like that. And you can see there's like a little bulb sticking out. Okay. Now the bottom plate, the under armor, underplating, whatever you want to call it. Connects to the bottom, syncs up with the bottom peg, leaves the head pin exposed, and gives you your arm socket right there. Okay, that's good to go. We can work with that. Now underneath, I call this my D peg because it's shaped like a D. It's got a flat side and a rounded side, so I call that my D peg. That is what connects to your waist joint. That is this little dome looking thing with 3 holes. Underneath of it, it has the D hole. No puns, come on now. And that fits on the bottom just like so. And so you got your torso pretty much set up right here. Last piece of the torso is going to be the head, and I put a little drop of glue on this front peg. Right, and I grab the head. Now the box comes with 3 separate heads, and you can pick and choose which head you want. All of the this assault squad is using a single head. mainly so that I can identify which squad it is. And when you put that in the hole, you can rotate it, twist it, turn it, basically give it some animation, right? So I do it like that. It kind of looks like a turtle head, right? Yeah, it kind of does actually. Now that this one does anyway. Okay, so I'm going to set that off to the side to let that cure, and then I'm going to work a little bit on these legs. Now, the legs have these upper thigh joints that are kind of shaped in a Tron motorcycle shape, right? They kind of go like this. So, and then on one side there's like this feather peg. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the leg like so, right? But I'm not going to have it go straight out. I'm gonna angle the leg up a little bit so that it'll have a wider stance. I don't know if that makes sense, but so instead of straight in like this, where the leg would actually be tucked underneath the body, kind of like you see that one is tucked under the body, I'm actually going to bring the leg up quite a bit, actually. 45 degrees maybe? Yeah. Kind of like that. All right. And then I'm going to do all three of those. I'm going to do them all the same. Now, I'm considering doing one of these legs in a different pose. I think I am, because I kind of got excited when I looked at this box and I saw that he had one leg here kind of tucked underneath the body, right? Like he was, and to me that kind of, and I looked at it and I was thinking, you know what that does? It gives the illusion that it's moving, that it's running, and not just standing still. Like that one, that's just standing. He's moving. And this guy's kind of leaning forward. So I'm going to leave one pretty much straight out, 90 degrees. Okay, we're going to let that one, and that one's going to be the one that's running and tucking. So I'm going to have to make sure that I put that as one of the two front ones. It could be left or right, doesn't matter. Okay, so while those legs are drying, I'm going to move on to another step. Okay, so we've got this Disruptor Discharger. It's not a cannon like in the Bomber Squad. But I guess the Ghar like their disruptors. Okay, and so these two halves go together. I was noticing I really liked the way each half has its own cabling, but when you put it together, the cables look like it was all one piece. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then there's the front claw look. I thought it was a claw when I first got these. But it's a disruptor piece, and it doesn't matter how you put it on. You can put it on however you want. It doesn't matter. It's just a peg in a hole. And who's saying that it doesn't actually spin? We don't know. I bet you I could stand up like that so that the weight of the... And then that's the arm socket, which we'll leave separate. And then this one is the claw. And these claws are actually different than the Bomber Squad claws. This claw has a rounded piece instead of a brick, and then it's got a second rounded piece on the outside, and it only goes on one way because there's a groove on the bottom, on the inside, that you don't see once you put them together. So hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to put the top part of the claw on, And it pretty much only goes on one way because of the way the mold is. Now, I'm sure with a little bit of a conversion or snipping or cutting, you could get this to look a little bit different. But I already like the way it looks, the way it is. There's no need to do that. And I'm trying to center it so there we go, that's centered, because I want the circle disc to be exposed on both sides. I don't want any overlap. Yeah, and then you get a claw that looks like that. Okay, so the arms are ready to go, the legs are ready to go, the body's ready to go, and the base is ready to go. Okay. So the way I do legs, and I do the legs first, I just turn it over, and then you got those three socket joints, and then I put glue in every one of them. All right. And remember, that's the one that's straight up and down. It's going to go in the front as well. But here, let's take a back, right? We put it the ball in the hole. And then I personally like to pull the ball sockets all the way back without it popping out. So like I'll go all the way back. There we go. And that will give me a leg that's reaching back. See how that's reaching back? Okay. And then I'll do the same thing with one of these front sockets. I will go as high as I can. Maybe even moving the ball socket a little bit, just so I can get the leg to reach out again as far as I can. Now this one, remember, is going to be the running one. So I don't want it reached out as far as I can. I'm going to actually deliberately tuck it in a little bit, but I'm not tucking it under the body. I'm tucking it parallel to the path of movement, right? So I'm going to kind of tuck it back like that. That might be too much, but we're about to find out. And that wound up being this leg right there. Yeah, that works. That gives me and I'll do a close-up on this model when I get done. Okay. Give those legs just a few seconds to dry. Boom, they're dry. Okay, so now we go ahead and we're going to do the claw arm. The claw arm is all one piece, so it's going to be easy. The inside of the claw, this is on all the shoulder socket, the ball sockets. They all have these holes. They're saved in plastic. When you put the arm on, make sure you don't position it in a way where that hole is exposed. You want to make sure that hole is tucked inside. Not only will it be in a more realistic position, but it'll also not expose that hole. Okay, now how do I want to... Okay, if this guy is running and that leg is chomping, I think I want to have this claw low, not high like that. The side of the claw moving back, the leg, I think I want to have the claw low. It can be out, so not in the way of the leg, but low. Okay. Now the next one's a little bit more complicated because there's two arms, or there's the upper arm and then the gun, but it does have that hole again the same way. Put a little glue. Now I think I want to have this gun raised up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this arm up and maybe forward just a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. It's going forward like this. Yeah, it's going forward and it's raised up a little bit. Okay. So now on the discharger, there's also a little socket. We put a little glue inside there. And then I just grip right there on the cabling, but you can grip it however you want. And then I put it in there and I swirl it around so that glue gets all over there. And then I kind of position the disruptor. He's running. Maybe it's up. Maybe it's pointing up a little bit. That's simple, really. And then what I do is I put a drop of glue on each of the leg feet. Okay, and then I find my base. I position it in a way that I like it on the base. There we go. I let it sit for a second. Now I put both those two legs a little bit further, and this one doesn't look like it is, but that's because he's leaning this way. All right, so he's pretty much centered on the base. All right, and that's how you assemble almost all the Ghar are that simple. Now let me go ahead and zoom in and let you see what it looks like. All right, guys, you got the Ghar Assault Battle Armor, and he's got his claw right there. He's got that one leg tucked underneath like he's moving. You see the back is a separate piece than the body, but it gives it that like a back covered in plates. It kind of looks like an exposed brain. That's what I think when I see that. Then you got the Disruptor Discharger, and you got the arm. You don't see any exposed sockets, right? You got the head kind of tilted slightly. The plates, and a little pin on the top. Yeah, it looks really good. All right, well, thanks for coming out and watching me assemble the Ghar Assault Power Armor. I'm going to do the rest of these, plus I've got a Ghar army on the way. And once I get all that here, I'll assemble those on camera as well. And if you want to stay abreast of all the work that we're doing on our Gates of Antares models, our Concorde and our Ghar right now, I plan to expand into different armies. But if you, what am I trying to say? Yeah, if you want to follow along, I'm going to have a Gates of Antares project playlist up on YouTube, and you can follow along. And I'm going to put a video out at least once a week, letting you know the progress. Also, I'm thinking about building some sci-fi terrain, sci-fi woodlands, a lot of sci-fi stuff. So if you want to come back and check that out, make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help support the channel in all I do, go ahead and hit the PayPal me link in the description below. All right, guys, I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.